Hello. Have you ever handed back student work with just a grade? Or received feedback on your own work that didn't help you improve? Today, we are exploring formative assessment feedback that happens during learning. Not just at the end. Think of it as coaching, not just scoring. Formative assessment is the practice of giving students feedback while they are still learning, so they have time to improve. It is different from a final test or grade, which tells you how well a student performed at one moment in time. Formative assessment is ongoing, continuous, and deeply connected to improvement. It is one of the most powerful teaching strategies you have. When students receive specific, actionable feedback during the learning process, not just at the end, they can actually use that feedback to get better. Today, we will look at 3 different approaches to assessment, and you will see the dramatic difference that formative assessment makes. Picture this. Miss Chen is an English teacher. She collects her students' essays on Friday. She reads them over the weekend. By Monday, she hands them back with a grade, A, B, C, or D. But here's the problem. She only gives a grade, no written comments, no specific feedback. The students look at their grade, some are happy, some are disappointed, and then they file the essays away. 3 weeks later, when they turn in their final essay for a real grade that counts toward their term mark, they make the exact same mistakes. They do not know what went wrong. Why? Because feedback came too late and it was too vague. A letter grade alone does not tell you how to improve. A student who gets a B on an essay does not know. Was my thesis weak? Did I need more evidence? Was my organization unclear? Should I have used better vocabulary? A letter grade is like a verdict. It tells you the outcome, but not the path to improvement. This is summative assessment evaluation at the end. It is important for grades, but it does not help students learn while they are still working. Now imagine a different approach. Ms. Chen still collects essays mid-unit, before the final grade. But this time, she writes specific comments. Not good job, that is too vague. Instead, she writes things like, your thesis is clear and arguable. I love it. But paragraph 2 needs more evidence. Can you add one more example? The student reads the comment and thinks, oh, I see exactly what I need to do. They revise. Ms. Chen looks at it again and gives more feedback. The student improves. Then, at the end of the unit, they turn in a final draft for a grade. By now, they have had multiple chances to learn and improve. That is formative assessment. It is feedback that happens while students are still learning, before the stakes are high. Specific feedback tells students exactly what is working and what needs improvement. It gives them agency control over their own learning. They are not just receiving a judgment, they are receiving guidance. And because the feedback comes early, students have time to act on it. They can revise, practice, and try again. That is when real learning happens. But we can go even deeper. Imagine Mr. Chen starts by showing students the rubric for the final essay on day 1. They know exactly what success looks like. No surprises. As students draft, Ms. Chen circulates. He asks questions. What is your main argument? Why did you choose that evidence? He does not just give answers, he guides their thinking. This is formative assessment through questioning. Meanwhile, students also give feedback to each other. A peer reads your draft and says, I really liked your example here, but this part is confusing. Can you clarify? Students revise based on feedback from multiple sources: the teacher, their peers, and their own reflection. Assessment is happening constantly. During learning, it is not a one-time event at the end. Students are getting feedback from many angles. They are practicing giving feedback to each other, which builds their critical thinking. And here is the powerful part. By the time students turn in their final essay for a grade, they have already learned. The grade is just confirmation of what they already know. This is assessment for learning, not just assessment of learning. So which scenario describes your classroom? In scenario 1, feedback came too late and was too vague. Students did not improve. In scenario 2, feedback came mid-unit and was specific. Students had a chance to revise and improve. In scenario 3, assessment was continuous. Success criteria were clear from the start. Feedback came from multiple sources. Students revised throughout the unit. The difference is dramatic. Formative assessment feedback during learning is one of the most powerful teaching strategies you have. Research shows that when teachers use formative assessment effectively, student achievement increases significantly. Students feel more confident. They understand what they are working toward. They know how to improve. And the good news? You can start today. You do not need fancy technology or complex systems. You can start with clear success criteria, specific feedback, and time for students to revise. In our session together, we will explore exactly how to implement formative assessment in your classroom. We will design assessment activities, write rubrics, give effective feedback, and use tools, including AI to support your practice. Let us begin.